In today's episode, we are talking about one of the most insane poker hands that has ever been captured on video. One of the most insane hands I've ever seen. And something that makes it even more insane is that the person that was playing the hand, that was forced to a decision, was reportedly, by his own admission, playing with his entire net worth on the poker table. A guy that goes by the name of Corey Eyring. A couple people have already made videos about this hand. So I'm not gonna talk about what they talked about. I have something else that I wanna say, something that a lot of people are missing, something that I wanna get off my chest, something that if you're friends with Corey, tell him to watch this video because I think that he may get some value out of it. And if your name is not Corey, stick around because I think I have some valuable insight, something that I think may actually shift a lot of people's perspective.
I'ma give it all I got, like grinding every day, ain't no other way.
All right, welcome back to the Skill Game Podcast. My name is Johnny, go by Johnny Vibes on the internet. And the hand that we're talking about today, it was a crazy hand. And just for those of you that are new to this channel, this is the Skill Game Podcast channel. I optimize it so that people that are listening on audio platforms, it's available on all audio platforms, that they can listen in their car and not need visual aids. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, we have some visual aids for you, but I'm actually going to narrate it out so that the people that are listening on audio platforms know exactly what happened and aren't in the dark here. So let's set the stage. Corey Eyring is a YouTuber who makes videos about poker, and he is someone who is at the top of the game. He makes amazing videos, and he's just really great at storytelling, really great at raising the stakes, really great at making people care about what he's actually doing at the poker table. Just a really gifted storyteller. And as a result, he's built this narrative around his channel that he is playing with his entire poker bankroll. Whether that's entirely true or not is not the point of this video. And it's not something that I'm really going to debate in this video. But I will say that Corey is someone who is good at poker. He's decent at poker. He's not someone who's just wailing around here. He's someone who does have a knack for the game. His older brother is a professional player, so he's knows what he's doing. And for him to take crazy shots like this, I actually think that it's not such a bad idea, and I'll get into that later. But let's talk about the hand in question. All right, so going into this session, Corey says that he has his entire bankroll in play here. I believe that he was in for at least 30,000, if not more. And at this point, he had ran his stack up to over 80,000. I think it was in the $90,000 range before this crazy hand comes up. And I'm not really going to talk too much about the mechanics of the hand, but basically on the river, when the last card has already been dealt, he's in a spot where the other player in the hand decides to bet all in on the river, bet all of his chips, which was $85,000 into a pot of $10,000. So he bet 8.5 times the size of the pot. The reason why this is significant is because Corey now has a decision for a stack that's relatively the same. So $90,000 is all of the money that he has, which is obviously an insane amount of money to have on the poker table in general, number one, but to have it be your entire net worth makes it entirely insane and has raised the stakes so much here that the audience is really invested into what is going to happen in this hand. I know when I was watching it live, I was nervous for Corey, and it's a spot where Corey has the third best possible hand. There are two possible combinations of cards that could make a straight flush, and they only need one of those cards in their hand. So he effectively has the third card that he would need to make the call here, the ace of hearts. And in general, when you have the third nuts and someone is betting 8.5 times the pot, that is generally going to be a spot where you would fold your hand, usually. But in this case, it's a special circumstance because he's playing against a player who is known to be a wild player and known to be someone that can make this bet with a bluff, with a hand that isn't even a flush, let alone a straight flush. which means that Corey is left in a spot where he's basically a 50-50 decision calling or raising. And the math supports that when you are making a ridiculous bet that's 8.5 times the pot here, it's roughly a 50-50 because you have to be right 50% of the time for it to be a profitable call. If we're splitting hairs here, it's like 47% of the time you need to have the best hand to make it a profitable call. With all the nerdy math stuff aside, it's basically a coin flip. And it's a situation that I don't envy Corey, especially when your entire net worth is on the table here. And before I tell you what happened, let me just first talk about the idea of playing with your entire net worth on the table. Obviously, on its face, it sounds like a terrible idea, but I'm going to push back on that and offer a different perspective here. Corey is someone who is in his 20s. He is someone who actually knows what he's doing at the poker table. He has a support system, a brother who is a professional player, and he's also someone that has access to money. There's a lot of people that believe in Corey's skills as a poker player. So if Corey were to call here and lose all of his money, he would be out of the game for a short period of time. But because of his resources, he would be able to get back into the game. Maybe he would have to give him up some action. Maybe he would have to borrow money. But the point is that his poker prowess is enough to gamble in the spot and risk of ruin all the way down to zero to where he's not going to be shut out of the game forever. Secondly, Corey has the unique skill of making YouTube videos. And he also has the ability to get a lot of views with one video. And nowadays, when you can do that, attention is effectively currency. He has the ability to take on sponsorships, do brand deals, to earn back a bunch of money in a short amount of time. All he needs to do is upload more videos. He also has the ability to effectively be a consultant when it comes to YouTube. He's that talented when it comes to creating YouTube videos. And there's a demand out there that people would be willing to pay to have him consult them. And judging based on his numbers alone and his ability to tell stories, both of those avenues, he could command a good amount of money. So while risking his net worth is obviously reckless, his ability to earn outside of poker through YouTube, through consulting, and his ability to borrow within poker or get staking within poker both allow him to be extra reckless in the situation. And if he was maybe in his 30s or maybe had a wife or maybe had a child or something like that, I wouldn't be so on board with him raising the stakes this much where his entire net worth is on the table. But not only does it make for an amazing YouTube narrative, because when you raise the stakes this high, it makes for more compelling video. And a more compelling video means more people watching. More people watching means more his ability to make money goes up. So I'm totally on board with Corey being reckless here and putting his net worth on the table because if it doesn't work out for him, it's going to be fine. Now, maybe if he does this over and over again and he starts to go into his 30s or maybe he has a kid on the way or something, I wouldn't be so on board with him doing this. But for the time being, I'm totally on board with Corey being reckless here. It's probably not something that I should do in my life, but I really like it for Corey here. So we've got that out of the way. Whether or not his bankroll is on the table, I tend to believe the narrative that his bankroll is on the table here. And it makes for an incredibly spicy decision here for him. Makes the call and is right is one of the biggest hero plays, one of the coolest stories that I've ever seen in poker, in a cash game at least. Makes the wrong decision and folds, well, he still has his chips. It's probably the easy way out because he's still going to be up a good amount of money, but he misses out on the chance to be an epic hero. He misses out on the chance to basically be a poker god. So he knows this and he knows that it's a 50-50. So if he makes the right decision, God. If he makes the wrong decision, misses out on a huge opportunity. Not to mention, if he calls and it's the wrong decision, he loses all of his money and is back to zero and is back to needing to earn in another way, get staked or borrow. So obviously the stakes are huge. And I got to say, as I mentioned this already, but I was on pins and needles watching this.
I'm all in.
Oh my God.
What?
This would be a 6-spot first set.
Three Coin just ripped 85,000, Rick, into a 10K pot.
There's more coming. Let me make sure.
Corey
you
shows the
understand
ace
how
of
much you
hearts.
got. I don't
Get
think
this
it's
man a
$20.
barf bag. We might be here a while.
4-liner
If he calls
to
him,
a straight flush, and 3-coin goes
maybe.
all in.
I mean, I didn't really make this clear before the game, but I am sitting with my whole net worth right now, technically speaking, which I didn't announce to the table for obvious reasons. So this makes that spot a little bit more interesting.
As you can see, Corey is in a ton of pain here, and it's a situation, like I said, I do not envy for him. We know that 3Coin is a wild player. We know he's totally capable of bluffing here. And because of that, that's what makes it a 50-50 here. Because in most circumstances against a normal player, you're just going to fold here and just assume that they have a straight flush and they're trying to get paid off by a worse straight flush or the ace high flush. But here's where this video takes a little bit of a turn and something that nobody's talking about. And it's the reason why I wanted to make this video in the first place. Corey decides to do something that frankly I'm just not a fan of. He basically decides to outsource his decision to a complete random draw, a complete 50-50. He decides that if he flips over the ace of hearts, that he's going to call. If he flips over the other card, he's not going to call. Basically leaving it up to complete luck.
This is binding. I'd like to randomly select a card. If I pull the ace of hearts, I call. If I pull the 10 of diamonds, I fold.
And the reason why I don't like this decision is because in life, we have only so few opportunities to really own our decision. And in an age where our decision making is already starting to get outsourced by AI, by the internet, that when we're in a spot like this, I really just want to lean into owning the decision. And that's something that Corey decided not to do here. And that's why I wanted him to watch this. And that's why I wanted to communicate this message is that so often in life, because of technology, we are outsourcing our own thinking. And you can get into debates on whether or not we even have free will, but I like to think that we do. I like to think that our decisions directly impact the quality of our life. And if we make the right decision, it's gonna give us all the spoils. And if we make the wrong decision, it's gonna lead us to the depths of despair, but it's also gonna provide us very valuable lessons. So what I really wish Corey would have done here is I wish he would have owned the decision rather than leaving it up to luck. Let me give you a couple examples just to illustrate what I'm even talking about here. So I want to learn Spanish. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. It's something that is obviously very difficult to do later in life, to learn a new language starting from basically scratch. My father does speak Spanish, but that's one of the reasons why I wanted to learn Spanish is so that I could have that with him, so I could share that with him. And the only way to do that is through intense mental work, which might sound crazy in the year 2025. In a couple of years, there's going to be an earpiece that I can literally put in my ear to where someone is speaking in Spanish and that earpiece is going to translate that to English. So you might think, why even go through the trouble and hard work and mental fatigue of learning a language when you can just have that language translated to you in your ear in real time? And it's because I want to use my brain. I want to go through that. I want to work hard at something and not have the answers just given to me. And it's so often in poker, there's situations where the answer is solved. We know exactly what we're supposed to do with ace queen here against this player who's playing really close to perfect. We almost don't even need to think in a lot of situations in poker. So when we're given this opportunity to think right here, we should really lean into using our brain and not leaving it up to luck. There's a big hand that I was involved with a long time ago where I had kings versus aces. And I obviously didn't know that the guy had aces, but because of him Hollywooding in the hand, I felt like he would have aces the majority of the time here. And because of that, I decided to make a decision that was really risky because if I call and he has aces, it's no big deal. I had kings, He had aces. I'm supposed to lose all my chips there. But if I do something that I feel is correct in my heart and make a bold decision, and he doesn't have aces and I fold kings, I look like the biggest idiot. Everyone's like, how do you ever fold kings in a spot where you've already invested all of this money? You only had to call X amount of more dollars for the off chance that he doesn't have aces. But I knew that I had to do what I thought was right and what I felt was right in my heart. And because of that, he ended up having aces. I got to be a hero. I got to be triumphant in a spot that was so massive.
Oh my God! What a fold! Oh my God! What a fold by Johnny!
It would have been completely different if I would have flipped a coin and said, if this lands on heads, I call. If this lands on tails, I fold. Because now I'm outsourcing my decision. I'm leaving my decision up to luck. So if it lands on tails and I fold, and he actually didn't have aces, I can just blame it on the luck. It's me not owning the decision. Now, the same token, if I flip the coin, I fold, and it was the right decision, I don't really get to own it. Luck is what really made the decision for me. I had another hand recently where I had jack high in the river and someone made a big bet. And I really thought that they had 7 deuce because we were playing the deuce 7 game. And the deuce 7 on this particular run out was a very bad hand. And because he made a over the pot size bet, a polarizing bet, meaning it's a bet that we're going to have good hands or bluffs basically, I thought that there was a good chance that my jack high would be good on the river. It would have been completely different if I would have flipped a coin and said, if this is heads, I call on jack high. I'm calling with jack high. Lands on heads, I call. Now I don't get to own it. Now I didn't make this like really cool decision. I didn't make this hero-like decision. I left it up to luck. And that's what happened in this hand with Corey. He not only outsourced his decision to luck because he couldn't bring himself to make a decision that was going to be something that would potentially wreck him emotionally. And I think that he had the opportunity to step into courage and make that decision. Not only did he outsource the decision, by the way, he outsourced the decision to someone else. Like he didn't even want to be the person to flip over the ace of hearts or to flip over the 10. He couldn't even bring himself to be the one to leave it up to luck. He had to outsource that decision to another person at the table. He ended up outsourcing it to Mariano. If I'm going to outsource a luck-based decision, I'm going to outsource it to Mariano because Mariano obviously runs really well.
I'll let you pick.
Mariano is going to pick the fate. If Mariano picks the ace of hearts, Corey wins the biggest pot of his life.
I need you. I don't even know what I want you to pick. I really don't know what I want you to pick.
Will he pick the ace of hearts? He picked the ace. He makes the call. Corey Eyring wins the biggest pot of his life. 179,650. Mariano picked the right card.
Mariano pulled the ace of hearts. Corey got to call and win the hand and win a massive pot, which is amazing for Corey. It's monetarily, financially, an amazing decision to win such a massive pot. But he doesn't get to bask in the glory like he would have been able to bask in the glory if he would have dug deep and made that decision on his own. And on the flip side, if he would have dug deep and made the wrong decision, made a decision out of fear, made a decision that cost him the pot, then he would have equally had something to look inward and had an opportunity to learn something about his own fears, learn something about maybe why he didn't make the decision that he felt like could have been right in the moment. Basically, he deprived himself of the opportunity to be a hero or be the GOAT. And I don't mean greatest of all time. I mean like the bad kind of GOAT. So Corey, if you're watching, congratulations on winning an amazing hand. I was rooting for you to win the hand, but I was also rooting for you to own the decision. I think the next time when faced with this opportunity, whether you're Corey Eyring or whether you're one of the other thousands of people watching this video, own the decisions in your life. We only have so many opportunities to make big decisions, and whether that decision works out or whether it doesn't work out, We either get to learn something about ourselves or we get to be a hero, temporarily, albeit, but we get to make a heroic-like decision and have it be right or have it be wrong. So I hope you guys enjoyed this solo episode for me. I do these every once in a while here on this channel where I basically just rant in podcast format. Feel like it's a good opportunity for me to get some things off my chest and to just provide value for the user. So if you found any value in this video, drop a comment, drop a like, perhaps get some skill game merch, and I will see you guys in a future podcast. Thanks for watching.